Hey everyone, two quick reminders before we start this next episode. We're still accepting applications for the Black Student Success Scholarship until April 30th.
And our fundraiser for our new online community to connect Black students and professionals ends this Friday, April 16th.
So if you want to donate to the cause or apply to the scholarship, both links are in the description.
Okay, let's get into the podcast. Enjoy, everyone.
My senior year comes, I get my degree, and my advisor comes to me. She's like, Tonya, if you want to stay and get your master's in chemistry, we'll pay for it for you. It'll be a free degree. Right.
Wait, what school did you go to? Hold on.
I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, apparently they're giving out free master's degrees. Anyone hear that? I'm joking. That's amazing that she believed in you that much to offer that.
Right. I was like, okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black Student Success Podcast, brought to you by Inquire Hire. Today, joining us is Tonya Lane. How are you doing today, Tonya?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. We're so happy to have you here.
To be here.
Yeah, so let's just jump right in. Tonya, tell us a little bit about yourself. How would you describe yourself? This is your moment to boast.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Tonya is a woman of God, an optimist, a cosmetic chemist, a believer of just following your dreams and, what makes you just like, what are you passionate about? Like whoever that person is, I'm like, you can do it. So I'm a huge encourager when it comes to that. Jersey girl to the fullest, currently living in North Carolina. I love it here though. It's beautiful. And I'm just super excited to just share what I do and just everything about my career. And I'm just so excited to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I had to bring you on when I found her on YouTube and found out she was a cosmetic chemist. And how many people know that that's an area that you can go into? So I'm so happy that you're here to kind of go through your journey and talk about a little bit of what you do now. So let's bring it all the way back though. Let's move back into your childhood. We're going to have a little therapy session, possibly. We'll see. Put my psychology degree to work here.
I love it.
Tell me, how did your childhood look like? What was that family dynamic? And what support did you have throughout your school experience?
Yeah. So what did my childhood look like? I would say as a child, I was very introverted, very quiet, but very creative. I always wanted to learn how things worked and, what happens if you do this? What happens if you add this? I was definitely very creative at heart, but very introverted. So I didn't really understand what that meant in regards to the creativity that I had internally. As far as like parental wise, I grew up mainly with a single mom for the most part, but my dad was present also. So he was always there to encourage me and, just always speak life into me. So that was there, which was super beneficial for me. And I think their role played a huge part in the fact that, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to be a firefighter, be a firefighter. If you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. So I never felt like I was limited, in my mind or what I could possibly do. Now, the real question is, I had an issue when it came to like, well, could I do it? Whatever this thing is, because mind you, at that time, I had no clue about becoming a scientist, becoming a cosmetic chemist. Like that was far from my mind, mainly because I didn't see it. That representation was not there for me. So being a scientist didn't even come until later on, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on. But as a child, I just knew that I was very quiet, very introverted, but I just loved creativity and creating things.
Oh, wow. So you had that balance there, that support from your parents, although it sounds like they weren't together and you had a single mom. Shout out to the single moms. Hey, mom. Shout out to all the single moms. It's hard work. You also had that support from your father, although he wasn't in the same household with you, and you had that encouragement. That's great that you had that foundation there. So take us through, any adversity that you had going through school. We get this question a lot from students, and we kind of talk about ways to overcome obstacles. So did you face any, adversity at any point during your school experience? And if so, what advice would you give for those obstacles?
Yeah. I faced several adversities. I think the first one would be bullying. So for me, it wasn't like physical bullying, but it was just like verbal bullying, like pretty much talking down to me. And, I didn't have the hottest shoes and stuff like that. And maybe I had to pay less shoes, all the,
Hey, shout out to Payless. I mean, I had a single mom too. Okay, we're always at Payless. It's okay. Their shoes.
But it was definitely verbal. And I was like, I'm a tall person, so I was always the tallest in the classroom, and it was so interesting because our teachers back then, they would line you up based off of your height. Mm-hmm. And I would always think, man, I'm the last person, like, and you being the last, that kind of affects you. I'm like, okay, does that mean I'm like not worth much because I'm the last person in the line? So it was really like a mental thing for me with my height. And I had an issue with my height. Sometimes I would walk in the hallways kind of like hunched down because I didn't want to seem too tall. Mm-hmm. So definitely my height played a role. And then also just having people just kind of just be jealous of you and just saying just nasty things to you about your clothing, your shoes, and all of that is a form of bullying. And it definitely affected my identity. It affected my self-esteem, all of that. And I think because all that happened, I developed early on this people-pleasing thing where I wanted to please people so that they can like me. I wanted to wear the hottest clothes. I wanted to talk how they talked, and I wanted to do what they did so I could be accepted. But at the end of the day, it was just not a good thing for me, so I did experience the adversity between the bullying and the lack of identity and all that. But as far as like how I overcame those obstacles, I would say it wasn't until like maybe high school, for the most part, where I got a group of friends that were really good people. So I would say developing friendships with people who add to your life, people who kind of speak life into you, people who just accept you for who you are, people who are genuine. So that really helped me tremendously in regards to letting go of that people pleasing, Also, I would say what helped me was understanding who I was. Now, did I know who I was in high school? No. I didn't start that journey until like in college or so.
It's way too early. Right.
Exactly. But, I started like reading different books and, looking at different, like even scriptures in the Bible and just different quotes and daily affirmations that would kind of build me up. But once again, this is a journey. Even now, I'm still learning who I am and learning and really believing and standing in that, like I'm really awesome and I'm smart and I'm beautiful and I'm intelligent. And those are things that we kind of, if you don't grow up hearing that, you don't really believe it. So it's kind of like you have to do the work. You have to do the work to kind of get those seeds within you so that they grow and you can actually start believing it. So for me, as far as how did I overcome those obstacles, it was just more so doing the work, which I'm still doing today, but also getting around good people who speak life into you and just realizing that, not everyone can be close to you, especially people who kind of just are not good or like any type of like jealousy. When you sense people are like kind of negative, that's like a warning sign to kind of like be mindful, have those boundaries up. And I didn't learn that until like high school, college years. So yeah.
You're dropping knowledge though. All of that's so true. I mean, even into adulthood, those are things that you should take into account, especially not everyone's good for you. Not everyone's good. Not everyone's on your team. They may seem like they're on your team, but maybe it's so that they can gain something else in return. So like she said, go with your gut. If you feel like someone's being negative or if they, maybe the first time, just be aware that,
Be aware. Yep.
And after the next time, maybe they don't need to be as close. Y'all don't need to be besties. Y'all can, create some distance, some boundaries. I like that you said that.
Yep.
And I like that you also said that it's a journey in battling that trauma that you kind of face with bullying. Verbal is that's heavy. That's heavy. It's just as bad as physical. And I like how, but I like how you're doing the work, and you can do that at any stage of your life, right? High school, even before then, she picked up the Bible, right? And she was reading scriptures and she's reading positive, quotes or whatever it is, to keep yourself motivated, because they don't they don't define you, right? Other people don't define you. So I like that you did that. That's awesome. All right. So tell us, how did you know that you wanted to be a cosmetic chemist? Where did that come from? Just talk about that a little bit for us.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I never knew this career even existed. It's almost like this secret society career. Like it's out there, but no one knows who they are. All we know is that products are being made, but who's making it, you know? So for me, it all started back in high school. I happened to be really, really good in chemistry, which was mind blowing to me because growing up, I am a very, once again, creative person. So writing, art, all of that was my thing. So science, once again, was just not even far from me. But I had a really amazing chemistry high school teacher. Her name is Miss Wellner. If you're ever watching this, Miss Wellner, hey. But she was just like super, just an awesome teacher of chemistry. And I think that played a huge role because if she was like a crappy teacher, I probably wouldn't have done very well. And I wouldn't have even thought about the sciences, but because she was so great, she helped me a lot in regards to really understanding what chemistry is and just doing really well at it. So once I realized, okay, you know, I'm junior, senior in high school, you know, time for me to pick a major, I was like, well, I'm going to choose chemistry because I'm really good at it. And on top of that, all of my friends were going to school to become pharmacists because you get your PharmD, you come out making six figures, you know, it's a very secure field. So that was my thing. I'm going to become a pharmacist. However, it wasn't until like my senior or junior year of college, like after I got all of these credits, when I realized, oh snap, I don't think I want to become a pharmacist. And I realized that because I was like, I'm not even that passionate about the work that they do. Like, it's good work. If you love it, do it. But for me, I was like, I'm just doing it for a paycheck. Like I would be literally doing this for money. And money is great. Yes, it's awesome. However, I want to be happy with my life. I want to be passionate about whatever it is that I do. I want to wake up in the morning and be like, oh my gosh, yes, I love what I do. But that was not there with pharmacy. So mind you, I'm a junior. I have all these chemistry credits. So for me to start over is kind of like, that's not going to happen. So I literally was just like, you know what? I'm going to hang in here. I'm going to pray and ask God to lead me. And then I'm just going to keep going, see what happens. So my senior year comes, I get my degree, and my advisor comes to me. She's like, Tonya, you know, if you want to stay and get your master's in chemistry, we'll pay for it for you. It'll be a free degree. Right.
Wait, what school did you go to? Hold on.
I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh my! Apparently, they're giving out free master's degrees. Everyone hear that? I'm joking. That's amazing that she believed in you that much to offer that.
I was like, okay, you know, and it was just like the perfect setup because, like I said, I didn't know what I was going to do with a BS in chemistry. Like, honestly, I could have got like a regular lab, you know, career, like working in the laboratory. But even that, I wouldn't have been happy with because I like chemistry, but not that part of chemistry. There's so many aspects of chemistry. You know, you have textile chemistry, which is like working with fabrics and clothing. And you have like the cleaning industry, you know, developing cleaning products. There's so much of chemistry, but I knew that the general part of chemistry, I wasn't that interested in. So I say all that to say that gave me time to figure out what I wanted to do. So I got my master's in chemistry, but it was like my first year in in grad school that I discovered cosmetic chemistry. So around that time, that is when the whole natural hair industry was coming into play on YouTube, natural hair care. So that was huge around this time. And it's like 2008, 2010, around that time.
Okay.
So that's when I discovered, oh my gosh, I'm actually passionate about hair and beauty and skin. Like, I love this. And then the light bulb went off when I realized, okay, chemistry and beauty goes together. Like, that's how you make products. So I just did my research. I just learned all I could about this field. And that was when I realized this is what I want to do. I want to be a cosmetic chemist. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but this is what I want to do. So yeah, that's how it happened.
That's amazing. That's a great story. Oh my gosh. Just when you thought it was over, you're like, what am I going to do with this degree? Oh my gosh, I'm going to start over. College is not cheap. And I mean, what do I want to do? That's amazing that all that epiphany came at that moment. So that's great. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about what cosmetic chemistry is.
Yeah.
And what skills do you need to be good in this field? You talked about creativity a little bit. Is that important for this as well?
Oh, for sure. For sure. So basically, cosmetic chemistry in short is the development of beauty products. So it's a chemist who is developing hair care products, skincare products, cosmetics, you name it. And pretty much what we're doing is we're taking ingredients, we're using science to create an efficacious product for you guys that you can use to, whether it's to moisturize your hair or to cleanse your hair or to moisturize your skin. All of this is like a form, like different textures and of ingredients that we have to figure out from a science standpoint to provide for you to make your life easier and whatnot. So that's what cosmetic chemistry is, developing beauty products.
That sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm, it is.
Can I do it? I mean, no, I'm joking.
Come on, why not?
That sounds like a fun career. Wait, what?
Yeah, I will say this, it is fun. It's very, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's very satisfying, especially when you develop something and you see it in Target.
In the store, right?
In Walmart or somewhere. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I worked on that. I developed that, However, of course, with anything, there are challenges, A very common challenge is, for example, we call them emulsions. And emulsions are basically creams, lotions. Think of like a lotion that you use to moisturize your skin. Mm-hmm. It takes water and oil to come together to make that cream. Now, in science, physically, water and oil does not like each other at all. They're constantly trying to be like, no. Mm-hmm. So it is our job to figure out, okay, how can we make this come together and stay together so that when you purchase the skin cream, it doesn't, separate. It doesn't become this cottage cheese looking crazy thing that is all together and it looks amazing and it feels amazing. So it can be challenging when, sometimes we're developing something and it's not as moisturizing as we want it to be, or the formula is falling apart. So you do have some challenges here and there, but that's where that science comes into play. And you did ask me a question in regards to like what you kind of need to kind of do this field. Definitely a science background for sure. Of course, mine is chemistry. A lot of people in this field also have chemical engineering degrees. There are others who have like biochemistry degrees, biology degrees, So I would say definitely a strong science background. And even better if you actually love beauty products, because then that's kind of where that passion comes into play. Mm-hmm. And then if you're on top of trends, like beauty trends, what's going on in the market, that's also going to help you in your career as well. And I want to say the biggest thing that helped me the most is networking. Networking was huge for me because once again, I didn't know anyone who did this career. But what I did was I looked at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way to network. Okay. Yes. And I literally just looked up different cosmetic chemists that may be in my area or just huge brands that may be in my area and whatnot. And I just reached out to them and just said, hey, I'm interested in your field. Do you have time to chat? I would love to learn more about what you do and how you got in this field. And thank God I connected the right person who not only gave me information on, how she got in this field and her journey, but she also was like, let me get your resume, and I'll hold on to it if anything pops up. And I kid you not, 3 months later, I had my first job because of that connection, because of networking. So networking is key, guys. It is key.
That's an amazing story. Wait, what? Everything just fell into place for you. What? I want to struggle. I'm joking. That's amazing that everything kind of just like worked out for you. That's amazing. Yeah. No, networking is key. I think that's a huge reason why we started the whole Black Student Success Network, is to make sure that, we can find relatable people to relate to or to connect with and to network with. And so that's great that you did the work and that you found people that were in your field already.
Yeah.
And she asked for a resume, and then 3 months later, you had your first.
I had a job. A job. Not only did I have my first job, but because that company shut down like 2 years later after I joined, she got me my second job as well, which I currently have right now, and I love it. So networking is key. And I do want to say this. I was having a conversation with my friend, and he was saying how one of the frustrations is that, students, they graduate from college and they cannot find a job. And they're like, we have this degree, we did this work, but we can't find jobs. But one thing I will say is probably like the missing key is networking, because honestly, it's really all about who you know.
Oh, yes.
It's all about who you know. And like I said, just kind of building those relationships. So like I said, I know, with COVID going on right now, maybe you can't sit down and have coffee, but just having like a Zoom chat with someone, or a phone call. And like I said, just tell them that you're genuinely interested in this career and that you're open to learning more. And what's going to happen is that conversation is going to plant a seed in their mind. So when opportunities come up, guess what? They're going to be saying, oh yeah, I spoke to such and such. Let me reach out to her, or, reach out to him. So networking, guys, is key. It's so key.
It is. It really is. Just what you said is exactly how things fall into place for people. All right, Tonya, thank you so much for going through, how you got into the field and everything. But I want to know, and I'm sure a lot of other people want to know, what a typical day looks like for you.
Yeah. So the really fun thing I will say about being a cosmetic chemist is that no day is the same. So every day is going to be different. So one day it could be just discussing future projects. It could be about discussing trending ingredients, like what are some ingredients that consumers are raving about right now? Maybe it's elderberry, maybe it's coconut, maybe it's rose. How can we incorporate those ingredients into this skin cream or this lip balm? So it's kind of like doing some market research. Other days, it could be, meeting with suppliers. So even though we are chemists and we develop, formulations, there's different suppliers that supply ingredients to us. So it's their job to sell in those ingredients so that we can use them inside of our formulation. So sometimes it's just meeting with suppliers and they're talking about how this new ingredient has this great clinical study, being done on it and how it helps to reduce acne or, it could be anything. So different supplier meetings. And then there's some days where I'm like in the lab, which is probably my favorite, when I'm in the lab, got my lab coat on, and I can just do whatever in regards to just creating and trying out different textures and seeing what happens if I add this ingredient versus this ingredient. What happens if I add this gelling agent? Is it going to like make it like a gel cream? Is it going to make it kind of like a very creamy butter? Like, it's just, that's the fun creative part for me, being in the lab, and then there's just some days where I'm just doing paperwork, where I'm just putting in formulations into the computer and into the system. So every day is different, which is great. It's definitely not a boring job at all. But like I said, if you are creative and you are passionate about beauty products and like skin, hair, cosmetics, it's going to be amazing. So yeah.
That sounds pretty cool. So you're not in the lab all the time, which is exactly the opposite of what you wanted to do. But but things shift and they change, and that's what keeps things interesting. I really like that. That's so exciting. That's awesome. All right. So this is a new question that we started asking probably halfway through this season. For you to define what success looks like for you. So it's, it's different for everyone. Not everyone's seeking to be a millionaire just to be a millionaire. So how would you define success?
Wow. See, that can be in so many areas of your life, you know?
That's why it's a good question. Yeah. Go for it.
For me personally, like on a personal level, a successful day or just success in general for me looks like peace, having peace and joy and just in my life as a whole. Does it mean that everything's perfect? No, but it just means that at the end of the day, I have peace and I have joy, because that when I have my peace and when I have joy, that allows everything else to fall into place. I'm able to think properly. I'm able to produce better videos. I'm able to produce better products because at the core, I'm at peace and I'm full of joy, So that's important for me. The second thing I define success is creating a goal or whatever it is and achieving it, achieving whatever this goal is. And even if you don't achieve it the first time, just picking yourself back up again, learning those lessons, because that's also success when you can fail at something, but gain something at the same time. A lot of people look at failures and mistakes and falling short as like this bad thing or this worst thing. You either win or you learn. There's no such thing as a loss. You're going to learn something. So take those learnings, because that's also part of success, because now you have these extra learnings inside your backpack in a sense. And now you're able to keep going on your journey to achieve whatever that initial goal was. So perspective, having the proper perspective, that's also success too, you know? So long story short, that's my success.
You either win or you learn.
Or you learn. I mean,
oh my goodness. Are you coming out with a book?
I mean, hey.
I mean, my goodness. A motivation course or something?
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Learn from your mistakes and keep going. I love how you said that happiness is how you kind of define success and peace at the end of the day. I think that's extremely important. I feel like a lot of people get burnt out because they have the wrong I guess, end goal in place, right? To make a lot of money. And I think it's hard as a student, right? Because your end goal might be, I want to get out of this environment, right? Maybe you don't come from the best financial situation at home with your parents, and you're like, my end goal is to make this amount of money by any means possible. And I like how you're kind of putting into perspective, yes, but happiness is really important, and perspective is important in peace. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
All right. So what advice would you give to your little childhood self? If you could go back in time and sit with little Tonya, what would you tell her?
Yeah, I would tell her, you are enough. You are enough. I would also tell her, you are valuable, and be yourself. Be your quirky, weird, optimistic, silly, funny self. You know, it's okay. You know, and I will also tell myself, don't compare yourself. Don't compare your body. Don't compare your mindset. Don't compare your grades. Just don't even compare yourself to anybody, especially if it's going to bring you down. It's one thing to look at someone and be inspired. Be inspired by people, but don't compare yourself to the point that you feel bad about yourself. So I would just tell myself, it's okay to be you, be yourself, love yourself. You're valuable, you matter, you are enough. And just don't compare yourself, because you're more than enough. You know, you got all the juice, girl. You got it, girl.
You got it. So own it, basically, is what she's saying. Yes. And that you are enough. I love all of that. Yes, own it. Because when you look back, when you get older, we're not aging ourselves, but when you get older and you look back, it's kind of like, man, in certain moments, you're like, I wish I would have owned that part of me, because that's what makes me, right? And in the world, when you get older, it's your uniqueness that brings something great to the table in any situation. So
that's it.
I love that. Oh, great advice. All right, we're moving to the fun part of the interview, where we get to ask you embarrassing questions, fun questions, hopefully that you answers you'd like to share or feel comfortable sharing. So what's the number one rite of passage that you think all college students should go through? This could be, being broke, losing your keys, getting locked out, getting lost in a new city. What would you name the number one rite of passage?
Oh man, only one? Can I give two?
You can give two answers. Yes, Go for it.
The first one I would say is doing or pulling an all-nighter.
Oh, yes.
Definitely that, because I feel like that's inevitable, especially when I have a midterm due and it's due at X amount of time, at 9:00 in the morning, and it's a 20-page paper and I'm only on like page 8, so. So definitely pulling an all-nighter for sure. But I would just say, like, if I can go back in time, I would just say, don't do it. I mean, even though it's inevitable and it might happen, but if you can control your time to the point that, hey, I have this 20-page paper due in 2 weeks, let me not procrastinate and just get it done, please do it. Because I'm telling you, your body will thank you. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, is taking a public speaking class. That is probably, at least for me, it was one of the most painstaking things. And, it's just one of those things that you just do. It's part of the prerequisite, the general prerequisites and whatnot. So I would say taking a public speaking class, because it does help you in the future, when you do have your career, where you have to do meetings and you have to present different things and share different things, those things are important. So those would be my two.
Oh, yes. Oh, we didn't have that as a prerequisite in
No.
where I went. So, no.
That's awesome.
I'm happy. I'm kind of happy we did it though, because at that time I was so shy. I didn't want to speak to anyone on that scale. So,
Right.
But no, it definitely helps you later, no matter what area you're in, because you're going to have to lead meetings and contribute in some way. So, all right. So, what's an embarrassing thing that has happened to you during your time at school that you would like to share?
Okay. So speaking of public speaking, I actually had to do a public speaking, well, of course, the class, but I had to do a presentation in my freshman year of college. And I think the topic was on food, like showing how to make some type of food or something. And you had a choice. You can either do like a presentation slide, or you can like present whatever it is just up front and just having things like on hand, like doing like a props or like stuff like that, like samples and stuff. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to, do something different. I'm not going to have a presentation. I'm just going to have my little props and my samples, and I'm just going to show a public speaking thing on food. And I think I chose like pizza. I chose like, I'm going to show how to make a pizza, a Lunchable pizza. Why I chose that? But that was like, it just made sense, because apparently the topic was like, present how to create some type of food. And I think the whole point of it was to just kind of get you out the box of like a regular presentation, like on a regular topic. So anyway, I grabbed my little Lunchables. I went to the store, grabbed like a little Lunchable pizza. And basically my presentation was to break down the ingredients. You have your cheese, you have your sauce, you have your bread, you have your pepperoni, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had to show them how to make the pizza, even though everyone knows how to make a Lunchable. So I get up there and I am so nervous. I mean, I'm like this. I'm shaking.
But it's a pizza.
Right. And I totally forgot that, wait a minute, my hands are shaking, but I have to present this pizza in my hand while it's shaking. Now, if I just did a presentation slide like I should have, it probably would have been a lot easier, because I'm like, little click.
You just have to click. That's it.
But no.
No. So you're trying to be great and be extra, think outside of the box. You got cheese everywhere.
I'm trying to be great at this point, okay? I'm trying to be great, trying to be different, okay? So I'm nervous. I'm trying to show this pizza. So here I am with the pizza bread, literally like this. The cheese is falling on the ground because I'm like,
this the whole pizza.
My classmates are like, looking at me all crazy, like,
is it that hard to make a pizza?
And then the pepperonis falling on the ground, the tomato sauce is going everywhere.
Oh my gosh! Oh no!
It was horrible. But I don't remember what I got. I passed the class, so I guess I did good. But that was probably the most embarrassing story that I have.
I hope you got an A for effort at least.
I know.
Come on, teacher. Professor, please tell me that you gave her an A. She tried. Right. That is not her fault. She had all the pieces. They just didn't make it together. That's all that happened. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Hey, embarrassing things happen. You can laugh about it later.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the one thing that you, this question, what's the one thing about you that may get your Black card revoked?
Okay.
Oh, uh-oh.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. I would say that I don't really know how to play spades.
What? Oh, you said that out loud, like in public, like on, oh no.
But you know what? I will say this. I'm trying to learn. I'm in the process of learning, you know.
See?
But for the most part, if I was at someone's house when they was play spades, I'd be like, I can't play.
I'm gonna go something else. Anybody hungry? I can make a pizza.
Exactly. A little pizza.
Oh man. Oh my gosh. That's not too bad. I thought it was going to be something way worse. The way you're hesitating, so that's not too bad. It's pretty. I think it's pretty easy to learn. So
okay, great.
See, at least she's trying to learn it. See, she's learning. She can only win or learn. These are the only two options, and she's choosing to learn. And here you go. All right. Thank you so much for being here with us. Tell us where we can find, where the students can find you, or the professionals can find you, and learn about your, just all of your greatness.
Well, they can definitely find me on LinkedIn for sure. I should be under Tonya Lane, so you'll find me there. And if you're interested in like learning about just cosmetic chemistry and hair care and ingredients and all that wonderful stuff, I am the creator of curlychemistry.com, which is an amazing platform to learning more about ingredients in the natural hair care industry. And on top of that, I am also a YouTuber, so I will teach you how to get your hair together, girl and guys. You know, I'll teach you how to learn about different ingredients and just all of the things. And you can find me on YouTube at Curly Chemistry as well.
All right, perfect. And we'll go ahead and put all that information in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here with us, Miss Tonya. It was a joy to hear about your journey and your career, and just thank you so much for all of the knowledge that you dropped today. So thank you.
You're
all
so
right,
welcome.
Everyone. Until next time, we will see you. All right, peace.
Bye, guys.